Hello and welcome back to the Happy Little Futures podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about mindfulness and what it means to us as a family and to me as a person. There's generally a lot of stigma even around the word mindfulness. It tends to be something that people consider to be all to do with sitting and meditating and not doing anything at all. However, it is so much more than that and can be applied in so many different ways. I first learnt about mindfulness, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, and I sort of learnt about using the mindfulness meditation. I used the Headspace app, which I'm sure many people have heard of, and I did enjoy just sitting and doing the body scan, focusing on the breath and doing mindfulness like that. It's not been until the past 4 or 5 years that I've started to learn that actually there's so much more to mindfulness, and there are so many more techniques and things that you can do to be mindful and the benefits that can have. I started doing mindfulness to help me with anxiety and managing fibromyalgia, which is a chronic condition that I've got, and it worked. It's something that I've relied on ever since. But as becoming a parent and life getting busier and having to juggle 3 little ones has obviously changed the amount of time that I've got. It's not been something that I can necessarily just sit down for 10 minutes and be mindful and meditate and do all that sort of stuff. And that is also something that I know puts a lot of people off mindfulness. So the technical definition, as per the Oxford Dictionary, is that mindfulness is a mental state achieved by concentrating on the present moment while calmly accepting the feelings and thoughts that come to you, used as a technique to help you relax. So basically what it's telling us is that when you are mindful, you bring yourself to the present moment. You find acceptance in the feelings that you're feeling, and you learn to live with them in that moment, if that makes sense. So obviously as an adult, sitting and meditating and not thinking for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even sometimes 2 minutes is very hard. We have hundreds of things going through our minds all the time, and hundreds of things that we need to be thinking about and doing and actioning, especially when you're a parent trying to think of the needs of others that rely on you constantly without being able to do things themselves. One thing that I've learned over the past 6 months throughout this new journey of ours is that actually it's not a bad thing to sit and spot these thoughts. Being mindful is being aware of the present moment. If that present moment is you suddenly being aware that your mind has drifted to thoughts and drifted to a place of anxiety or drifted to a place of stress, or you're currently happy watching your children and enjoying the joy that you can see on their faces, that is you being mindful. That is you being present with the moment. And if you're trying to meditate, at that point it's a moment to sit and be with that thought, and then to gently let it go and focus back on the breath again. If that's something where I tend to find now, I'll sit and be mindful watching my children. I will now sit and I'll just watch and take in what they are doing, take in their breathing, the way that they're moving their hands, the different ways that they're gripping things, just the smiles on their faces. And I would just sit and be with that moment and not do anything. I quite often don't take pictures and then feel guilty about it, but actually I've sat and enjoyed that moment and been with them, and the chances are that I will enjoy that memory more than not flicking through the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of photos on my phone. So how did I try and apply this to my kids? I started off by habit stacking and mindfulness meditation. I was really struggling with routine for the kids. I was really struggling with routine for myself, and I decided that actually trying to get them to sit and meditate for 2 minutes after breakfast, and sitting and meditating myself for 2 minutes after breakfast might be a way forwards to see if that works for them, works for us, helps to calm things down first thing in the morning and start the day off right. It really, really worked for a while. It was something new. They enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. However, I was using an app called Insight Timer, which we still do regularly use. And as part of that, you have to pick how you're feeling and pick why you're feeling that way. And then you get to pick a meditation. There are different ways of doing it. There are guided meditations, there are musical meditations, there are ones where you just pick some noises and listen to those along with a gong or a bell going off at the end of a set amount of time. So for us it was 2 minutes. They're still fantastic. However, with a 3 and a 4-year-old, it started to go bad. It started to go really bad. Every time I got the timer out, there would be arguments as to who was going to pick first, as to what type of meditation they were going to pick, as to who was going to say how they were feeling, how many buttons needed to be pressed to say how they were feeling. They can't read. They didn't know what they were saying. They didn't know that they were currently saying that their career was the reason they were feeling bad that day, or that their family was the reason they were feeling happy that day. They don't understand that. They couldn't read it. So in the end, I decided to knock it on the head. It wasn't working for us. It does work for little man, and it's something that if he is getting fraught or wound up, or if the telly's been on for a bit, yes, we watch telly, we will possibly put that on for him. He really reacts well to just sitting for a couple of minutes. For ages he has gone to the same 2-minute timer, the same sounds, and just sits under a blanket having a cuddle for 2 minutes with his eyes closed, which is really cute. But it does not work for little miss. No. She cannot sit still for beans. So I started doing some rainbow breathing with her and some gentle exercises. I would also do you can use your hands and blow the candles out. So I would hold up my fingers and just let her blow 5 times and blow 5 candles out. So I would put my fingers then into my palms so that she couldn't see them, and that would help to reset her. Reset her, like a computer. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No, it's a child. I can't do that, otherwise I would sleep a lot better. So anyway, I tried doing that. The other thing that she reacts really well to is just dancing. Just being in the moment, listening to some music and letting herself go whilst dancing is really, really good for little miss. She really, really enjoys that. She also loves to spot colours. So we might go, right, 5 things that are blue. See what you can see. See if you can see 5 things that are blue. So she will spot 5 things that are blue, then we'll do 4 things that are green, 3 things that are red. You get the picture. Just whatever colours come into my mind. Or if I'm driving, which this is a really good one if you are driving, is colour spotting. I normally go for 5 things that are pink, or 5 things that are green and not grass or trees or bushes, and go for the colours that you don't see so often. Purple's another good one. Orange you would think is quite good, but then when there's lots and lots of traffic around, It's not actually as good as it seems. Sorry about that little scratching noise there that I'm sure will come through on the audio, but my computer decided to time out. That's not what you want. So yeah, but that anyway, picking a colour that's not so common out and about makes it last a lot longer and reduce the carguments, as I've decided recently I like to call them. So anyway, so the upshot of this is mindfulness is not something that has to be sitting still in a room in silence with candles and going in the background. It's something that it's you being in the present moment. It's you being aware of where you are, what is going on, how you are feeling, and just sitting with that for a minute, or walking or standing or jumping or swimming, but you know what I mean. It's the process of just being present, and that for me is hard. It's hard for anyone, especially in a world full of technology. If you're like me, you immediately start getting twitchy fingers when you sit for a few minutes without purpose. But it's also really, really good for managing your feelings, especially if you're feeling anxious and stressed. And obviously it's recommended by therapists for depression as well, and so many other things. And tinnitus, I've recently discovered. I have tinnitus, and I've found out that I'm going to be learning some relaxation techniques and mindfulness for that. So that's different. So there's lots of different applications of it, but it is a skill. Like so many other things, it is a skill to be able and to just be present and be in the moment. And this is why I feel it's so important to be helping the kids to build it into their toolbox from this age, their life toolbox, as I like to call it. Because the younger you learn something, like talking or something like that, the easier it becomes throughout life. The easier it will be for them throughout their lives to apply these mindfulness techniques and skills, especially now if they can learn what works for them and what doesn't work for them. It'll be so much easier for them in future when they're managing all their exams, when they're managing all the stress of life, trying to buy a house. If they're trying to buy a house and they just need to keep pushing through to that final moment when you actually have the keys in your hand and can go, yes, we've finally done it. Then if they can learn those mindfulness techniques now, it will be second nature for them trying to get through life when they are older. And given the stress and strain that they've been under, that all of us have been under the past few years with COVID, we don't know the long-term effects that that's going to have on them. We don't know the long-term effects that it's going to have on ourselves. We've all been through so much. And so building it up as a family, as a community, so that we can all manage it and so that we can all help each other to be more mindful, to be more present with our emotions, to understand how we're feeling and how to deal with that. It's just so important. So, be it, yes, people think we're just going to sit with our legs crossed and our hands on our knees and meditate. But if I can start helping my kids now to learn that actually, for little miss, when she sits and colours, that helps her to process how she's feeling and be present with that colouring, and take her away from things and help her manage herself and manage her emotions. That's a big thing. That is a skill, a life skill for her, and a life skill that she needn't learn when she sees thousands of books on the shelves in the works in years to come and goes, oh, I might get one of those and see if I actually bother to colour it in, because it will just be there. She will just know that she is able to pick up that book and just have a moment, just take herself away from everything, not deal with the technology, not deal with all of life's worries, and just be in that moment. And that, dear people, is why I think mindfulness is so important, and what it means to us as a family, and where I hope mindfulness can help take me and my kids and my husband in the future. And how I'm hoping that these little changes that we do now will help all of us in years to come. And how I'm hoping that me talking to you and blabbering on about it to you, it's not going to all be about mindfulness. I promise you it will not all be about mindfulness. I have lots of plans for tidying. Yes, tidying and organisation is in your futures, guys. As long as you want to listen and carry on listening, it is in your futures. So that's the importance of mindfulness to us. That's why we want to be more mindful as a family and help each other to learn different techniques and learn together and grow together as a family. So I am going to love you and leave you. I'm also going to apologise for any snufflings and rustlings of our dog in the background, who is currently asleep. It's rather late. I should be in bed, but I thought I'll quickly do this before I go to bed, because I want to. So why not? How nice, I want to do something, and I'm doing it. So there you go. There you have it. I will see you next time, guys.